This week on the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast.
So that was my week, is a lot of appointments and other things that, can you hear that?
Yeah. We have our first caller. All right. Hey, you're on the air. What is your question?
Hi, I'm Chad the Quirky Picker. I'm a full-time reseller from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hi everyone, I'm Denis the Free King Flipper. I'm a full-time reseller from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Join us each week as we discuss life as a full-time reseller. We will share our experiences, both the good and the not so good.
Learn from our expertise and our mistakes.
From sourcing to listing to shipping,
Customer interactions, we will cover it all.
this is the Full-Time Flippers
Reselling Podcast.
Welcome to the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast. I am Chad the Quirky Picker here, and I'm joined with my co-host.
I'm Denis, the Free King Flipper.
Hey, Dennis.
What's happening?
How was your week?
About the same as last week, or the 2 weeks ago. That roller coaster ride, and I don't know what it is. Like during the week is really quiet, and then my weekends save my week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's happening again. We're recording on a Friday, so what you're going to hear about this past week is the same exact thing. It's been dead all week, and hopefully I have a busy weekend. But this Sunday is Easter, so I don't know. It could be ghost town, or people are bored and they just start buying stuff. So other than that, yeah, pretty good. Busy with life, but
Yeah.
Happy Easter, by the way.
Yeah, happy Easter, everyone. The location that I'm recording in, it looks differently, and that's because I am at my in-laws' house in Hagerstown, Maryland. We come here every year for Easter over the break. So we came down on Thursday. This is Friday when we're recording this, and we'll have Easter tomorrow. Then we'll head back home tomorrow night. It's like 2 hours away from where I live. So that's why the background looks different, and I might sound a little different. But I'm in a...
We did wear the same. We got the memo for the
Yeah, yep,
shirts.
the shirts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so coordinate. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Remember last week I was telling you about the it might have been one of my strikeouts where that globe was returned because it didn't spin.
Mm-hmm.
It showed up on my doorstep 2 days ago.
So he mailed it back at his own dime then. Yeah.
So I'll probably list it again, I guess.
You just put a little note in it. Put a note. Maybe it doesn't spin
Correct.
quite as good as you might think it does, or something.
Yeah. I will describe it much better this time.
Yeah, it has been a crazy week for me. On last Sunday was my wife's birthday, so we went out to eat at Texas Roadhouse. That's our tradition. I think my birthday we go to Texas Roadhouse. My wife's we go there for my son. We go there. On Monday, my wife had a dentist appointment. And my son had a dentist appointment. My 3-year-old, he went to the dentist for the first time. He's been begging to go to the dentist. I don't know how many 3-year-olds beg to go to the dentist, but so that took 3 hours of my morning. And when I think we talked last week or a couple weeks ago about being your own boss and reselling, it gives you the flexibility to do whatever you want to without having to ask off and miss work and different things like that. And that, that's the positive side of reselling. But the negative side is 3 hours of my morning, instead of working, was spent at the dentist office. Tuesday morning, I had a dentist appointment, and we have a new dentist that's like 30 minutes from our house, so 30 minutes to get there. Yeah. And then the last couple of weeks, I've noticed my car is like making a weird sound in the front, and it's like shaking a little bit when I'm driving real slow speeds, and I thought maybe I had a tire going bad. So I stopped at a tire place, and they said, yeah, both your front tires are shot in your car, which they're at least 10 years old. So I said, let's replace them. So I had my tires replaced, went to the dentist, and that was 3 hours of my morning Tuesday. And then I had to leave work at 2 o'clock, my warehouse at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, because I had to go run some errands. So there, I only worked like 4 hours on Tuesday, 5 hours on Monday. Wednesday, I have a part-time job that I usually work for on Wednesdays. So I didn't do reselling at all on Wednesdays until like 2 hours in the late afternoon.
Wow.
And that was just packing up all the orders from the last couple of days that I hadn't got to. And then Thursday morning, we left for vacation. So this week I haven't got much done at all. And yet I'm still my sales are almost up to where they should be. That's the beauty of reselling. You can still make money and barely do any work. Just think if I worked hard, how much money I could make. So that was my week, is a lot of appointments and other things that, oops, can you hear that? Yeah.
We have our first caller. All right. Hey, you're on the air. What is your question?
Yes, I probably should mention. Today I'm recording since I'm in Hagerstown for the holiday weekend, I'm recording in my father-in-law's business in his office. He runs the machine shop. And I'm out here. So you might hear some drilling in the background or some machinery or an occasional phone ringing or somebody walking into this office, not realizing I'm in here. He has a few employees. So that's what's going on with me today. So all I have is my cell phone today, and we're winging it because we don't want to leave you guys hanging for a week without an episode. So the links I will go to for our viewers. So that brings us to the segment of viewer mail. We had a couple comments on our videos I wanted to read. We have a viewer, Jacqueline Rose, and she just says, episode 6, I love it. Thank you for sharing. And another viewer, BAA Sports Angel, says, enjoying every episode.
Thank you.
So there's good positive feedback. No negative feedback yet. I guess we're not big enough to have negative feedback. I heard when you get to like 1,000 subscribers, then I think that's when the negative feedback starts coming in, is what I've been told.
Yeah.
So
Snarky
we
comments.
we love snarky comments.
That's right.
Dennis does, especially. He gets snarky with his customers all the time. Moving on to home runs and strikeouts. Your best and your worst sales of the week. What do you got, Dennis?
My home run, and I'm going to not sell hard goods here or talk about hard goods here. It's a piece of clothing. Imagine that.
Wow.
And it's a brand that my son, as well as Fisher Flips, taught me. It's one of those high-end sort of performance wear, and it is Arc'teryx. You ever hear that one?
No, I haven't.
Arcterex.
Oh, yes, I have. I didn't know how to pronounce it, but
if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Anyhow, found one, and it was a fleece, like a full zip up with pockets, and I paid $7.99 for it. I don't think the people knew what it was either.
Yeah.
And it sold within 12 minutes for $100.
Wow.
So
a sweater.
Yeah. Yes.
Where did you say you found it?
Full zip up at a thrift store.
A thrift store, okay.
$7.99, and in Massachusetts we don't have tax on clothing, so it was $7.99. Listed it that evening, and like I said, less like 12 minutes later, it was gone.
Wow.
So that was great, but should I have priced it a little higher? I don't know. I mean, $8 into 100, I'm gonna take that, all week long.
Right.
So be on the lookout. It's the first time I ever found it, and thanks to those guys for turning me on to that brand. Sell-through rate is ridiculous. It's a great brand, and you guys should definitely be looking for them.
Okay, yeah. I have only found one item of that brand in my whole life. I don't usually shop for clothes, but I was at a yard sale and I looked at the tag of a windbreaker jacket, and it had that tag on there, and I had heard somewhere that was a brand to look for. So I bought it. It was like $15, I think. And when I got it home, I realized there was a company logo on it on the front, which usually hurts the value of them. But apparently this brand overcame that, because I'm pretty sure I got like $75 for it.
Awesome.
Which is crazy, because it had, and it wasn't a company like AT&T or some big company like Google. It was some small rinky-dink local place. So yeah, I'm with you. Be on the lookout for it. How do you think it's pronounced?
Arc'teryx.
Arc'teryx. Okay.
Arc'teryx.
I read words all the time, but I don't really try to say them out loud if I don't know how to pronounce them.
I probably butchered it, but I'm sure we'll hear about it in the comments.
Yeah. What is your strikeout?
Oh, I'm sorry. My strikeout was a CD that I got, a band CD, and it had all the signatures on the front of it. And I'm like, cool. You guys know where this is going. I didn't do any more research on it. I listed it, signed by the band. It was sold, shipped out, and immediately returned. This is not the band signatures. I'm like, oh. So it was like $9, $8.99.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just keep it. That's my bad. I should have done some type of research to actually see. I don't know who's going to sign it, but it had a whole bunch of signatures, and I'm like, that's got to be it, right? I mean, what do you guys do out there when you get autographs on a CD? Do you look them up? Do you look up every single one of those? I didn't even look up one of them. So.
I don't look. Sometimes if I'm getting ready to list it, I'll look up that CD and type in or put signed in the search query, and if another one has been signed, I'll just kind of glance at the signature to make sure that it matches. But I buy CDs sometimes from local bands, or I find them from local bands, and they're signed by the bands. You have no way to verify that because you have the only copy probably on eBay.
That's what this was. This was the only copy that was signed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I took a chance, and that was I struck out on that one. So
yeah, I mean, what do you lose?
Yeah.
Maybe it's legit, and then you know.
Makes for a good story.
Right. My home run is I couldn't even read my writing. It helps if I don't want to wear glasses on the podcast. It makes me look old.
Hey.
All right. What? No, I mean reading glasses, not normal glasses. When the kind you wear on the bottom of your nose, tip of your nose. All right. My home run was a speaker. It seems like this is the trend for me lately. I had bought a bunch of speakers. I think I've talked about them on some previous podcasts. They, acoustic research. Okay. All right. This was an acoustic research speaker. It's old vintage from the 1970s. I put it up for auction a week ago because I had no idea what it was worth, but I was hoping to get like $350 to $400 for it. The cabinet was in rough condition. I put it up for auction, started it at $200. And normally when I do an auction, I shut off best offers. And I totally forgot to shut off the best offers feature. And someone immediately sent me an offer of $280. And I thought about it, and I'm just like, I want to know what these things will sell for because I have some more. And so I told the guy, hey, $280 might be the best, might be more than the auction goes for, but I really want to see this thing through. So I'm going to deny your offer. And I did. And then I went in and shut off offers because I guess until you get a bid, you can edit you can edit. So I got 7 bids and it sold for a whopping $225. So I lost $60 by running an auction. So let that be a lesson.
Yeah.
And I had 200 and some views on this thing, like 30 watchers, and nobody bid more than $225. I ended it at 5:30 Eastern time. I don't know if that was a good time or not.
What day?
I don't know on a Tuesday night.
Yeah. Sunday nights.
I should have just started on a Sunday night. Maybe I would have got more, but I lost $60 because I didn't get greedy. I just kind of wanted to see where it was going to go. But yeah, I have another auction that's ending on another speaker coming up, but I listed that one much higher. So if I do get at least one bid, I'll be happy because this is what I wanted. This one I started low because I just wanted to create a little bit of excitement, and that's, I broke the rule is don't start your auction at less money than you're willing to take. I guess when I got that $280 offer, I should have went out and changed it to the starting bid at $280. Because if that guy won it, I knew he was willing to pay $280. Right. Yeah.
And then he might have been your only bid at that price, but he would have gotten you the $280.
Right.
So
that was my bad.
It's a good
thinking that
lesson.
through. Yeah. I like lessons that don't cost me money.
That's a $60 one right there.
Yeah. Yep. That's not the first $60 that I've lost though. So my strikeout, a couple of years ago, I went to an estate sale, and this was one of my first estate sales I went to from an individual that was clearing out a millionaire's home. And they had like maybe 3 kids that now had moved out. There were, I bet, 5 different video game systems, tons of
Nice.
games. I spent so much money at this estate sale. I don't even remember how much. I just remember that I was buying everything. And it was during COVID, and I had this mask on, and it kept slipping down over it was out in the garage of this house. But every time my nose would slip down, the guy would yell at me. I'm like,
No way.
I'm the only person here, and I'm out in a garage.
Right.
And he was getting real annoyed with me. And I'm like, I am not trying to annoy you. I'm trying to buy all this stuff. There was a pair of Nike Air Jordan shoes from the 80s,
Oh, wow.
and they were $50. And
Okay.
I didn't buy them just because the shoe market hadn't exploded yet. This was right at the beginning of the pandemic. And maybe in my world, I wasn't up on the price of shoes, but I thought $50. I'm like, man, maybe I could sell them for $100. But I had bought so much stuff, video game systems and electronics, and I bought some furniture from in the house that I forgot about the shoes. And the next day I emailed the guy, and I'm like, hey, you still have those shoes? And he's like, no, they sold the next day, or sold. And then he advertised the next weekend that he had more stuff. But it was a private invitation during the pandemic. They didn't want just anybody showing up. So you had to tell him that you wouldn't show up. And he ghosted me at that point. And the guy has never contacted me again. And all
Should've worn your
because
mask
I did.
properly.
Yeah. It was back in the early days when people were being ridiculous about it, I guess.
Oh yeah. Gloves. You gotta go. I've seen it. Gloves alone in your car with the mask on. All right, let's take a call. Angela, you're on the air.
I would answer the phone just to be funny, but I'm actually going to answer it.
That's great.
But anyhow, my story, my strikeout, I got sidetracked. So at that estate sale, though, I had bought a bunch of vintage Christmas ornaments. They were like 1950s style, 60s style,
Nice.
and they were of athletes. There was one of a football player wearing a number 25 and a basketball player wearing a number 25. And this week I finally sold that ornament with the basketball player on it. $4 plus shipping. So
Wow.
that was my lowest. I've been offered like $2 on at least 2 different items this week. $2.
It's been bad, real bad.
Yeah. You're seeing a lot of low items. Yeah.
That's pretty much all I'm selling is low dollar items, and then they're asking for 50% off right away.
Mhm.
I'm like, come on! It's already low as it is, so I'll counter, and almost all of them just nothing.
Yeah.
No counter offer back. No, they don't even decline it. They just nothing. Just ghost.
I listened to a YouTuber called Primo Chemo, and he's always crunching numbers on eBay to try to figure out patterns and what works and what doesn't work without having to promote. He ends his listings every day and relists the next day. I had commented on his podcast that the last 3 months, March is over now, so we have 3 months of data going into this year already. In January, I sold an X amount of items. I don't have my numbers in front of me. I'm sorry. I'm on vacation. But I've sold more items in February than January, but I got less dollars per item. And in March, I've sold more items than January or February, but I'm even getting less dollars per item. So I am really seeing the dollars fall, but I'm selling just as many or more items. And he said it's because that when sales get tough, you start taking lower offers than you would normally take any other time of the year.
Agreed.
That was his theory. And my other theory is a lot of this stuff I purchased last summer and it's been sitting around in storage, and I'm kind of listing now off of my death pile versus going out and getting fresh stuff that like with good sell-through rates. So that probably has a little bit to do with it too. As I'm trying to clear out all my inventory before yard sale season starts.
Yep.
Did you have any yard sales this weekend or see it in your area yet?
It is 40 degrees right now
Yeah.
and raining. It's been
Okay.
raining for like 3 days. So
Mhm.
I don't know about tomorrow. There's nothing really listed. And then Sunday's Easter. So
Yeah.
that's it. But we're getting close.
Yeah. I would think Easter weekend would be a bad weekend for yard sales, just people with family and stuff. And yeah. But on Craigslist, where I'm from in Lancaster, there is a development of 20 homes having a yard sale Friday, and tomorrow. And
Awesome.
I'm not there.
Oh,
And there was
Yep.
probably 4 or 5 other yard sales listed. And when I went through the stuff, I'm like, ooh, this one's full of tools. Ooh, this one's got some stuff I like. It looks like this was the weekend in Lancaster where they're starting up and I'm not there. So I'm in Hagerstown, Maryland. So I looked on Hagerstown and Craigslist, on Facebook, everywhere. I can't find a single yard sale here. So I'm like, I don't think I can make a living as a reseller in this area. There's just not enough yard sales. And Lancaster County, Pennsylvania is huge for yard sales. There are development yard sales every single weekend somewhere. Once April comes around, it will be nonstop until the end of July. And then August is really slow. And then it picks up again September, October, November.
Is that where you get most of your inventory for the year, or?
Yes. I live on estate sales in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And I just stock up at yard sales. It's not uncommon for me to come home on a Friday morning and the van, if I take a van, the back end's completely full.
Awesome.
And then at that point, I'll go through and I remember what I paid for each item when it's fresh in my mind at the end of the day. So I'll get my phone out and I'll start speaking into my phone saying like, I bought this these pair of roller skates, $5. I bought this a radio, $5. I'll start listing. I'll say everything out loud and how much I paid for it, so that I have a record of it, just in case I want to go back and remember it, and then I'll just add it all up, and then I know how much money I spent that day. When I do my taxes, I don't keep track of each individual item bought and sold. I just keep track of how much cash I spent each month versus how much I made. That's kind of how I do my taxes. Most resellers, if you're full time, and you're not doing that, you're spending a lot of time messing with each item to try to figure out how much profit you made per item. I'm assuming you do the cash.
Cash. I have a
cash in, cash out.
Oh, it looks like this.
Okay.
It's just a receipt book.
Yeah.
And I make a receipt for every cash transaction, whether it be on marketplace, yard sale, little church thrift store that doesn't have receipts, that type of stuff. And so I make a receipt out for the week, and then it all goes into a spreadsheet at the end of the week.
You take that with you when you're yard selling?
Yep.
So like when you get back in the car and sit down, you write down right away how much you paid at that yard sale. Okay.
Yep.
I don't.
And the address, because they're going to want the address if you ever get, so, and that's it. It's a good tip. It works for me. And then they all get put into, like for the week, it all gets put into like a little binder. And then at the end of the month, that goes into a spreadsheet.
Okay. So your accountant told you to keep track of the address where you bought it too, to help
That's
with,
just something I've seen out there. I've seen that.
Okay.
I mean, we do, like I said before in a previous podcast, we do TurboTax. So I don't have an accountant, but I just want it for my own personal thing. If I ever get audited, you have date, location. If I got the person's name, I'll put that down. And then what I bought, how much I spent, cash, done.
Okay.
Just like that. So let us know what you guys do. You guys do something similar to that, or just wing it, or what? But the receipt book I've had since day one, and it has really helped out. I just get it at Walmart. I think it's like $3 or $4 for the whole book. So that's it. I don't know how we got onto taxes, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, it's tax season, so I think that comes up in every conversation I have anymore.
Yeah.
My taxes are done, by the way. My accountant's going to give me the damage here this week.
There you go.
All right, moving on to BOLOs and NOLOs. One thing to be looking for and one thing that you wouldn't buy again. Go for it,
You
Dennis.
know what I have, right? I have props. I love props. This bolo is probably a well-known bolo, but it's Lego minifigures. So these ones,
Nice.
and not anything, these aren't anything particularly valuable, but I love Star Wars minifigures. I love the Pirates of the Caribbean. Couple of other, maybe Marvel stuff like that. These are from Jurassic World.
Okay.
It's these two are Jurassic World. That's Owen and Claire, and then this one's from Jurassic Park. That's Sattler. But I just brought a couple, and then there's the old ones that you get in the little packages. They have like different series of them.
Yeah.
But if you go on and do a very quick search, type in Lego minifigures lot, L-O-T, okay? And then go to some of the highest priced ones. And someone is selling 10 pounds of minifigures. And they took an offer. Oh, what was it? Well, it was on there for $20,000.
Whoa.
And they took a best offer. Here's one, 16 pounds of minifigures. They took a best offer, $6,000. Here's one of just all Star Wars minifigures. It went to auction, sold one bid, $5,900. Another pile of them. I mean, it's in the thousands of dollars. Here are 225 figures, Star Wars, $2,500.
Are the individual heads and hands and body parts all just thrown in a bag or a box or something?
these look like full 8 pounds of pieces, but 16 pounds of complete figures. But if you go in and you look at the single ones, you can actually look up single. There's a Star Wars one it's like an older phase one. One of the clone troopers named Fox, and it was listed for $2,500. It took a best offer.
Wow.
Some of them are crazy. There's like some this is a DC universe. It came from the San Diego Comic Con, and it's a minifigure in the package for $3,800. There's like 3 or 4 of them for that price.
Wow.
Another one from San Diego Comic Con. It is a Superman with a black uniform, $5,400.
How do you date them? With Google Lens?
There's an app or Google Lens that you just take the chest piece and you take a picture of that. There's an actual app for it that you just hit it on there, and then it'll bring you up the figure, and then it'll even bring you up some comps on it too. It's really cool. So if you don't know what it is, you'd take the picture right here or take the whole thing, but it's really looking for the chest piece. But you got to make sure you have the proper, everything else is the same. Otherwise it really devalues the price on it. Like, he's complete. The hair, the face, even the hands, everything goes on there. But you know how kids love to take them apart, put different pants on. That really devalues them. But if you don't have it, like, this is a live actual listing that I have going on. I don't have, God, I'm losing it here. It's the guy from Jurassic Park. He's not the paleontologist, the guy that's digging up stuff. Anyway, that's his hat. And then I just have the chest piece. I don't have the face or anything. So people buy them. People buy parts too. But if they came with accessories, you're going to want the accessories, the little stuff, the gun, the shovels and all that. So, but it's fun. I love buying big, giant bulk, piles of Legos and digging through and finding all the minifigures. You pull 3, 4, 5 minifigures out and it's going to pay for the entire thing. So
yeah. And how often do you come across these?
Pretty often. pretty
I
often.
almost
Marketplace and yard sales. Go ask. And hey, anything that you're looking for, anything particular that you're looking for, and go, yes, I collect Legos. Oh, hold on a second. Bam. She'll come out with a big Rubbermaid container. Boom, throw it down. I'm like, oh, great. This looks good. I'll buy it. How much? She's like, I don't know. Make me an offer. There you go. My offer is always $20. That's just what I throw out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll do sure. Other times they'll be, oh no. Like, all right, well, you said make an offer. I did.
Yeah.
And then counter, and she'll say something crazy, or he'll come back with, yeah, $100. I'm like, no. And then we'll meet somewhere in the middle. If I find minifigures in it while I'm digging, then I kind of know, how much to counter or how much to offer in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. I rarely find them.
Ask.
So
It's crazy. Don't come out.
I might have to ask. Like,
yep.
I ask about electronics a lot of times if I don't see any. So now I'm going to ask for remote controls and minifigure or Legos.
Just Legos. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Then hope there's some minifigures in there. If I don't see any minifigures, should I pass?
It depends. If they're, do you know like what the vintage Legos look like? Very simple, like very primary colors. They don't have, if you see pink in there or teal or, some of these other like Star Wars colors, probably
They're
not.
new. Yeah.
They're newer. It still have value though. Depends on how cheap you can get it for. A big Rubbermaid container of just all mixed Legos. If I could get it cheap enough, I'd buy it. And then that process of going through the entire thing and making sure there isn't trash, fake Legos, those mega block things. You don't want any of that crap in there. I always find like 30 cents in there too. Always. At the bottom, they're just random change, chewed piece of gum,
rubber bands.
Oh yeah. Yep. But it's fun. I enjoy finding them. I enjoy selling them.
That's your bolo. Would you have a Nolo?
I do, and it's a prop, but it's not specifically this game. But I'm going to stop, and I hope you guys do too. Stop buying open, used board games, unless they are rare, unless they are out of print. But these mass-produced ones that I'm just collecting on the side of the road or getting at a yard sale for free, they just sit. So my Nolo is opened, used board games. Not necessarily this particular one, but I'm talking about in general, board games that have been used and might even be missing pieces. I'm just not going to continue picking these up. Unless it's out of print or sealed, I probably won't touch them. You can scan them, and I suggest you scan and see what people just don't want to pay the shipping for these. It's probably $12, $13 now to ship this. And I'm probably going to have to sell this board game for like $5 because you can just go out and buy it brand new. But you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't make any sense. I will say part them out because some people just want the pieces from the games, and that's much easier to ship. And people will be more than willing to buy the little figures that come in there if they're, hard to find or whatever. So try not to pick up a ton of board games unless you know what you're doing. There are very few out there that are worth your time if it's opened and used. If it's sealed, go for it. Most sealed games will sell for something.
Yeah, I've heard like somebody will buy an old Monopoly game and it's got a bunch of pieces missing, but they'll sell off each of the individual property cards.
I picked up a couple of board games a couple of weeks ago, and they sold last week. And I did sell Monopoly pieces. Funny that you say that. 1940s mixed Monopoly, wooden. The houses are wood, and it has all the replacement cards, all the tokens, the dice, and then the community chest. Those cards.
Yep.
And it sold for a whopping $7 plus shipping.
Yeah.
And I did sell a very old out of print game. And this one is called Careful Tower Toppling Game by Ideal. It was dated 1967. I got it at a thrift store for $5. It's huge. And I guess what you do is you spin a wheel and then you set up this tower. And it's kind of like reverse Jenga. You're building the tower instead of taking pieces. That sold for $40 plus shipping, for a total of $59.90. But then again, so that's on the other side of things. That's a game that's way out of print and fairly rare. There was only a few others listed, but mine sold pretty quick within a week. So very cool stuff.
Yeah, that estate sale I was telling you about earlier, they had a Dark Tower board game, and I think I paid $30 for it, and I sold it for $70, if I remember right. I think during the pandemic, I think that video or board games were really hot too, and they probably have cooled off a lot. But most of the time when I buy board games like what you just showed me is online estate sales. They'll sell like 20 different games from a closet, and I'll go through each one, zoom in real close on the photos, and like, is there any games in here that I can sell for more than the cost of the entire lot?
Right.
And if I can find one that might sell for $20, $30, and I'm only paying $10 for the lot, I will take that one game out, sell it, and just take the rest of them straight to Goodwill. Or sometimes I'll play them with my kids for a few times, then take it to Goodwill.
Yep. What is Catan?
Settlers of Catan.
Okay.
Yeah, I love
game,
that game.
It does not matter if it's new, used. That's one of the games where I pick up no matter what. They will buy parts. They will buy the box. Anything in there. That's one of those rare exceptions where you just grab it. You see that and you grab it. Or all the other editions of it. I know it has 6 or 7 editions.
Yeah. There's several.
Settlers. There's the Rivals of Catan.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a bunch in here. But like the first couple of listings that are sold here. Oh yeah, the Starfarers of Catan. That's there's another one. Starfarers. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, the first one here opened, used $27 plus shipping, $20 plus shipping, $40 plus shipping. Here's just parts for $8. Parts $17. Here is a rare one, Catan 3D edition, Seafarers.
Huh.
Brand new, $200.
Wow. Write that down.
That is
3D. My bolo is something that maybe gets overlooked a lot. It's a DVD. The Hallmark TV channel, like especially during the holidays, they just have tons of like sappy, cheesy movies.
Wait, you're talking about the one where she's from the country and he's a big city guy and he comes to visit her, but the farm is having some problems, and I think I've seen that. That's every single one of them.
Yes, pretty much.
Any case,
slightly tweak the setting and you got the same movie. But for some reason they sell for me all the time. I bought a huge lot of DVDs one time, took most of them to Goodwill, but as I was comping them all the Hallmark made for TV movies had good sales, and there was like maybe 15 listed and 15 sold in the last 90 days. And I get between $10 and $15 each.
Wow.
So you'll come across those quite a bit.
Not the Hallmark ones, but the other Lifetime. I'll come across
Lifetime.
Those.
Okay.
Lifetime movies, and they have like a set, and those fly. You're right.
Yeah, and those would be considered cheesy movies as well, like low budget. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably say that I'm going to get attacked by somebody. How dare you call these cheesy?
I love those.
Hey, my mother watches them all. Every time I go back to Ohio, that's the channel that's on TV.
Yeah. Oh, and Mom, thank you for watching. And I'm only kidding about Lifetime movies.
My mom isn't watching that I know of. If she is, she hasn't told me yet. All right. I don't have a NOLO this week. We're going to do the segment, So You Want to Be a Full-Time Reseller. We're going to share a tip on what it takes to go full-time. What do you have, Dennis?
Before you do make the jump, and this is something I learned after I made the jump, and Chad, I'll be curious to see what you say about this one, especially kind of we're in the same geographical area. Make sure you have inventory, sources of inventory, multiple sources of inventory for the entire year, whether it's spring, summer, fall, or winter, and make sure they're solid where, you're not out there hunting around looking for stuff, coming home after a few hours with like 5 items. A couple of years ago, I didn't realize how slow the winter was, trying to find items out here in the Northeast, and specifically Eastern Massachusetts, where most of the people in my area, they're all at their second homes. They go back. This is more of a summer resort type area, and they're gone. And some of the thrift stores are closed. The whole place rolls up the sidewalk. So what I was doing all summer long was grabbing stuff from yard sales and then thrift stores and free piles. That's all gone. So I learned very quickly to adapt and find other sources of inventory where I could keep up with the selling. And, if there's nothing on your shelf, you're not going to sell anything. And there's nothing worse than trying to figure out, what do I sell today? What do I list today? I've got 15 items for a week. No, that's not going to work. So get out there, meet people, get some contacts going, tell people that you're a reseller and you'd like to buy some wholesale, or, do a clean out, do your online auctions. You have to be able to adapt to the changing seasons. If you're out here in the Northeast or somewhere where it gets cold and it just closes. All my friends down in Florida, I know you guys get to go to thrift stores all year long, yard sales all year long. You're spoiled, and I want to come down there. I want to source with you. So invite me.
You need a winter home in Florida.
My in-laws live there.
Yeah.
And the problem is, how do I bring everything back? We normally fly down. That drive is awful.
Put your store on time away and start a new store in Florida.
It's not a bad idea.
You'd actually pay for the home. I'm going to stop thinking about this for a while.
Yeah.
Because I hate cold weather.
Yeah.
Is this a good time to talk about where you get your free stuff when you source? Or is that a whole episode in itself?
I mean, there's so many different stories in so many different places. It's nothing exotic, really. It's just that I hustle nonstop. I am going to dumpsters. I go to the dump, the landfill. That's where I get a ton of stuff, at the landfill. And I don't know if it's just this geographic area, but everybody does curb alerts. Everyone. Daily. If it's not raining, there's stuff on curbs. So I spend a good chunk of my mornings looking at all the posts and then going out and going to curbside stuff and getting tons of inventory just from the side of the road or at the dump. Our dump has a big section where there's just stuff that's thrown in there. People kind of don't want to throw away, but they want to see if other people will use it, like a swap shop. And,
so you're not digging through garbage bags, ripping them open or anything like that.
It's literally a box, and we'll just put the box down. You open the box. I'm like, oh, cool. There's a Walkman in here. There's that. I think it was. I had it on Instagram. A bunch of Fire King, that peach luster. There's just a pile of that in there. Okay, I just take up the box, put it in my truck, bring it home. I mean, it's amazing. So you're talking like 15 to 17 items that you can list on eBay for free. And I do this, week after week, month after month, and it supplements the store. There's a ton of stuff here that was free. There's a ton of stuff here that's a side of the road. How about after the yard sale is over? Do you go back to the yard sale again at the end of the day? Most of the time, everything is free. They're not going to bother taking all that stuff back inside. It's just pitched out to the road, and oh man, that's right. I was going to buy that, and now it's going in my bag. You got to be resourceful or let them know, hey, what are you going to do when the sale is over? Because I could come by and take it all for you. Sometimes they're like, no, we're bringing it all back in. Other times they're like, oh yeah, great. I'll give you a call when the sale's over. Come by and grab it all. It saves me time from taking it to the dump. So,
no, I'm going to say 10 years ago, before I was a reseller, my wife's sister lives in Hagerstown, Maryland as well. And they had a big yard sale. We came out to help and we brought some stuff and put it in there. And I walked the neighborhood to buy things. But at the end of the day, some guy drove by in a pickup truck and he's like, I'll take everything that you have left for free. And my mother-in-law's like, take it all. So
That's
they
me.
just grabbed everything, threw them in boxes, filled the back of the truck, drove down to the next one. We saw him loading up at the next one.
That's me.
And he must have ran a thrift store or something, because but most of that stuff everything that's good usually sold. That had
Maybe. But I
Yeah.
find great stuff that's left over. Like, no one bought this, really? And they just want it gone. They don't want to bring it back into the house. So that's my favorite phrase. I just want it gone. I'm like, well, I'm here to help.
So anytime you overhear that when you're shopping a yard sale, you're like, I'll be
so
back
good.
at noon. Wow.
Yep. Like, when you guys wrap this up, when you wrap 2:00, cool. I can come back. I can grab it all. I'll take it all away for you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Sounds good. Sometimes if it's later in the day, they'll say, well, do it now that you're here. Yeah, we're done. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Throw it all in. So it's great. I mean, but most of the time I save all of the stops that I made for yard sales. And then I will just go back to those same ones. And at the end of the day, and most of the time the stuff is there, free, little paper, piece of paper says free, and then that's it. I grab stuff from there. So is it a lot of junk? Yes. But do you find some stuff in it? Sure.
Mm-hmm. So that's why they call you the free king flipper. I mean, it's a great play on words. But
people just throw stuff on the curb all the time. Yeah. So I know I have friends and there's like, that doesn't happen out here, or we don't see that anywhere. Friends in Florida. Nope. He's like, no way. They're not going to be leaving a pile of stuff on the side of the road. Nope. What about you? You see it?
Rarely. But I should start searching for curb alert. Or is that your keywords phrase you use? Yeah. I mean, every area kind of has its own thing. Some areas use Craigslist as where you go to. Other areas you go to Craigslist, you won't find anything, but you might, just the newspaper might be the way you still advertise in some areas. It just depends. But no, I don't find free stuff very often. Ooh, I just got a notification on my phone that the egg roll lady is going to be at our area is known for the egg rolls. There's an egg roll lady, and she'll find the development with the best yard sales every weekend, and then she goes and sets up in front of somebody's house.
Okay.
So a lot of times when I'm doing my research on where to go yard sailing, I'll look to see where the egg roll lady is going to be, because sometimes she knows of a development that I didn't even know of. And
so you're bringing this up at Easter. Is this when you roll the egg down the hill, or is this a egg roll? This food? You're talking about food?
Yes.
Okay.
I forget I forget what country they're from. Egg roll. Yeah. Like some areas have different foods vendors that will follow the community yard sales.
Very cool.
And she's somewhere almost. They have two of them. There's Egg Roll Lady 1 and 2, and I think her kids will set up a second tent. It's just like a 12 by 12 tent out in the parking lot, and they're cooking egg rolls.
Wow.
They make a killing.
I was gonna say.
And you'll wait 30 minutes in line to get these egg rolls. It's crazy.
Awesome.
And I buy them all the time. Usually every other weekend I'm buying eggs, bringing them home for lunch. That brings us to a segment we call a question of the week. And Dennis, do we have a question this week?
Let's just go on what you said. While you're out there doing your yard sailing and it's lunchtime and you're hungry, are there certain foods that you look for? Is there a certain sort of person that sets up and you love going to that person to get that food? Like, what do you guys do for grub? It's important, yard sailing can, you're out there at the crack of dawn and sometimes all the way through lunch. So what do you guys do for food, and what do you guys do to keep that hunger at bay?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'll ask it to you. Do you have any particular food vendors that kind of follow your community yard sales?
We don't have a lot of community ones. So that's why when you said that, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. A whole neighborhood. We don't really have them. And when they're advertised as a neighborhood yard sale, it's like 4 houses. That's it. If it's a church community one, they sometimes do that. They'll have the little tent, and it's normally, of course, the yard sale staple, lemonade, and like Dunkin' Donuts. That's it. No hot foods. Maybe I should start something out this way. I like that. I won't do egg rolls, but maybe something else, but we don't.
Whatever you're good
really-
at.
Yeah. I don't know. That's curious. Regionally, how different yard sailing and that whole activity can be, from like a festival with food to little kids selling lemonade and that's it. Interesting.
No, if you're a person out there and you want to come yard selling in Lancaster County, comment me and I'll try to meet up with you if I can. We'll go yard sailing together, or at least, grab a bite of egg rolls together or something. That would be fun. I would love to meet viewers, as long as you're not crazy.
Yeah. Or snarky.
Yeah. No snarkiness. All right. Well, that's all we have this week. Any closing thoughts, Dennis?
Just want to thank again everybody for tuning in, and episode 7 in the books. You guys have been great. Love the feedback. Love the follows and the thumbs up, and I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. See you next week, everyone.